Hello everyone, this is Marcel here. Firstly, I want to say thank you. Sometime last night I hit 500 subscribers. I never expected that to happen. You guys rock, seriously. The topic today is on decriminalizing or legalizing prostitution. It was a video request by Michael Taylor. Thank you for that, Michael. Hey, if you guys ever want to do anonymous requests, just go ahead and send me a message on Facebook or to my email or something. So I took almost a week thinking about this video before I finally decided to make it for a couple of reasons. For one, I was raised in a community that was deeply against it being legalized, and for two, I have been kind of affected by it over the years in a couple of different ways I'll go over in a minute. But I promise I will be balanced and unbiased in my thoughts on it. A good place to start would be to address that whether or not we feel we should legalize prostitution depends a lot on perspective. This is a law on morality. People are having sex and taking money everywhere, yet for some reason they can't do the two at the same time. For us MGTOW, it is a positive thing for a number of reasons. It allows us to relieve sexual tension without having to hire someone illegally or getting back into the dating scene again. It removes almost all of female control over men by alleviating the one thing that they use to manipulate us the most. And it helps to shatter this whole he raped me witch hunt garbage that men go through sometimes. It will re-normalize sex and give a less involved source for men to find it. Besides, it's not like one of those women would falsely claim rape. I mean, that's her customer. Guy gets accused and just says, hell no, I didn't rape her. Look, I've got a receipt and everything. Just to be clear, actual rape is an atrocious crime and there are no excuses for it. Most of the women that I've ever spoken to that have claimed to be raped, though, have later admitted that it was just sex they regretted, and usually alcohol was involved. That's a subject for another video. Another way to look at this is generally within society, when we make something illegal, how effective is it at preventing that action from happening? It's worth considering that by making something legal, you completely destroy its black market value. You take control of it out of the hands of actual criminals and allow it to be regulated in a more constructive way. Furthermore, this will open up the ability to generate taxes from a source that originally was not taxable. If a person is wholeheartedly against the idea of prostitution, then by making it legal, you're going to drop the value of it by the rules of supply and demand. There might initially be more prostitutes, but when the hourly wage substantially drops from what it was before, they're going to be less inclined to stay there because they're no longer going to be getting like $200 an hour. I mean, honestly, where else can a person have basically no training and get that kind of money for their effort? That's why the criminals are kidnapping kids. They can make a whole bunch of money off them in a real short amount of time. Here's another viewpoint. If a person argues for equal rights, then why is it they almost always criminalize the guy and victimize the woman? From a feminist perspective, why is it the state should have the right to tell a woman what she can and can't do with her body? I can't figure out why they're not promoting it. I mean, honestly, you can't get more consent than a contract, right? Of course, they're probably going to say that the whole thing's objectifying women, even though that's what the woman herself wants, and she's a grown adult making her own decisions. Then there's the whole argument about pornography being legal and prostitution not, but you consider there's a lot of groups that would love to have pornography become illegal, so I really don't consider that as much of a point to bring up too hard. I don't want to tempt them to turn around and say, well, let's just make that illegal too then. So, a differing opinion to all of this is generated from back when I was a blue pill man and I was still dating women. I came across two of them at different times that were actually both prostitutes. I met them both in normal context, not in shady places or anything, not at a street corner, just going about my daily life like I would any other girlfriend. And they came across as completely average people, if there is such a thing. And they didn't admit it to me up front. It was later on, after the fact. One of them I basically caught, and when I confronted her, she confirmed it. That was in my mid-teens. She was the same age. And I ended the relationship mostly on the grounds that she had lied to me about it, until I had enough evidence that I could prove it anyway. The other waited until I was comfortable enough in the relationship that she confessed it to me and then told me she wouldn't stop unless I were willing to take over her bills and alleviate the need for her to do it. Now, one could argue that that was just a run for my money and she made it up, but I found out later on, no, it was actually true. She really was one. Both of those women, amongst many others that I dated that had had multiple boyfriends or lots of sexual encounters prior to me, had a particular trait in common. They really didn't form an emotional connection to me from making love or having sex. Now, without generalizing or presuming here, most women form an emotional connection with men that way. It's an emotional act for them. So to have that desensitized to them can have a lasting residual effect. It can almost damage their ability to form a genuine bond in the future with the guy they finally want to be with. Now, that's kind of a blue pill problem, and it really doesn't affect us MGTOW, admittedly. But I would be disingenuous if I didn't bring it up as a counterpoint. You figure many of us are here because we've had too many experiences with damaged, greedy, toxic women. Do we want to condone an activity that could potentially further harm their ability to bond with men? So my final thoughts on this? I say we make it legal, based on the grounds that people are going to do it anyway, and at least this opens up the women that are only being with men for money to be more honest about what they're doing and save the guy years of pain in trying to figure that out. Also, I don't believe the legal system is set up to solve the problem as much as it is just criminalizing men for being who they are, just like so many other things do. For those of you who find it immoral, it can still be immoral without having to be a legal issue. This was probably one of the more heated topics that I've discussed on my channel, and if you have any thoughts or if you disagree, tell me down below. I read what people comment. I hope this was all interesting, and if you want to hear more, like and subscribe.